welcome to the Explainer. So, in a world that's changing faster than ever, there's one question that's probably on everyone's mind. Are the skills we have right now really enough for the jobs of tomorrow? Well, to get some answers, we're going to dive into this incredible study on the future of work in Indonesia. And trust me, what's happening there, it might just be a sneak peek of what's coming for all of us.
And look, this is not just some, academic thought experiment. It's a huge, fundamental challenge that pretty much every worker, every economy is trying to figure out right now. And honestly, the answer is going to shape everything for the next decade, from global growth right down to your own career.
So this study we're looking at gives us this amazing window into the whole problem. Researchers went through just a mountain of documents and data to map out all the key pressures that are shaping the workforce. Think of it like a blueprint for what's coming next.
All right, so the study kicks off by looking at the big picture. You've got these massive global trends, things like tech disruption, big economic shifts, and they're completely rewriting the rules for labor markets everywhere. Doesn't matter if you're in Jakarta or New York.
Okay, so let's get into the first major challenge they found, and it's a big one. The research points to this growing and honestly kind of alarming gap between the skills people have and the skills employers are actually looking for.
Now, this image really paints a picture of this new world they call Industry 4.0. You can see digitization is right there in the middle. It's the hub connecting everything: AI, big data, even sustainability. But the really crucial link here, it's education. See, this isn't just about fancy new tech. It's about a totally new way of learning and adapting to all this change.
Okay, to really get a handle on this skills gap, there's a key term you need to know. It's called vertical mismatch. Sounds complicated, but it's actually a pretty simple, powerful idea. It just means that a worker's education level doesn't match what the job needs. You're either overeducated, you've got more education than the job requires, or you're undereducated. And this mismatch, it's a huge issue in Indonesia's workforce.
And the data totally backs this up. Take a look at this chart from 2021. It shows a serious mismatch across every single education level. Down at the lower end, you see a ton of undereducation, people in jobs that on paper need more training. But then, when you get to university graduates at the top, the whole story just flips on its head.
And here's a number that just blew me away. Almost half, we're talking 47.9% of all workers with a higher ed degree are technically overeducated for the job they have. Think about that. They've got the degree, but the jobs they're in just don't need it. That is just a massive, massive waste of talent and potential. But here's the crazy paradox. At the exact same time, the country is short at least 400,000 digital talents every single year. So on one hand, you've got this surplus of graduates, and on the other, a critical shortage in a key area. It's a gap that could seriously slow down the entire country's move into the digital age.
So this whole skills mismatch thing, it ends up pushing a lot of people into the second major force shaping the job market here, the informal economy. And it really is a double-edged sword. For a huge slice of the population, this is where they make a living. But man, it comes with its own very complex set of challenges.
And this map really shows you just how connected everything is in the informal sector. It's not some separate world, It ties directly into things like the gig economy, social protection, migration, even public health. It's like the engine that powers life for millions of people, but it's an engine running with almost no safety features.
The research basically boils it down to these 5 critical challenges. First, the informal sector is deeply linked to poverty and inequality. It's also where the gig economy is booming, but often without things like social security or what you'd call decent work. All that instability can lead to mental health issues, and it creates some really specific vulnerabilities, especially for women.
All right, so on top of the skills gap in the informal economy, there's a third massive pressure point, and this one is a demographic ticking clock. Just like a lot of other countries, Indonesia's population is getting older, and that has absolutely huge implications for the workforce and, well, the entire economy.
Just look at this projection. The trend is crystal clear. You just can't deny it. The percentage of Indonesians over 60 is shooting up. By 2045, they expect it to be almost 20% of the whole population. That means there's this urgent need for more care, better support systems, and, a real plan for who's going to pay for all of it.
Let's try to put that into more concrete terms. Right now, it means for every 100 people of working age, there are 17 elderly people who need support. They call this the dependency ratio, and that number is only going one way, up. And that puts more and more pressure on the younger generation.
So with all these challenges piling up, you might be thinking, what about a booming sector like fintech? Could that be the silver bullet? I mean, it connects things like financial inclusion with cool new tech like blockchain. But here's the surprise. The study found that even with its huge economic role, there's not much research showing it's actually creating a ton of jobs.
Yeah, and the growth of this really important sector is being held back by a few key things. Digital literacy among the general public is still pretty low. You've got problems with illegal businesses popping up, and worst of all, banks and fintech companies are all fighting over the same very small pool of IT talent, which, you guessed it, brings us right back to that digital skills gap we were talking about earlier.
So, you've got these three massive forces all hitting at once: the skills mismatch, the huge informal economy, and that demographic ticking clock. The big question is, how does a country even begin to navigate a transformation like this? What does the path forward even look like?
Well, the study concludes that Indonesia's job market is being totally reshaped by these three main drivers. You've got the digital revolution, or Industry 4.0. You have these unpredictable global crises, think pandemics or geopolitical conflicts. And then you have the economic roller coaster of commodity cycles. The only way to deal with all this, they say, is for everyone, government, education, and industry, to get on the same page and work together.
When you really think about it, the challenges Indonesia is facing, they're like a mirror for the rest of the world. The skills gap, the gig economy, and aging population, sound familiar? These are global issues. And so it leaves us with one final and I think really critical question we all need to ask ourselves. As the world of work keeps changing, what is the single biggest step we can take right now to prepare?